It is currently November 12th, 2022, which means officially it has been 2 full years since the PlayStation 5 came out. Now, in that time, a lot of my subscribers know this. I have done pretty much everything you can possibly do with the system. I subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium to play the retro stuff. I've beaten pretty much every single exclusive. I've platinumed so many freaking games. It has been a heck of a journey, but today I want to take a look back. I want to discuss this first 2 years and be brutally honest. The good, the bad, and definitely the ugly. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I feel like the PlayStation 5 has been such an interesting console because, partially just due to its scarcity, it's become almost this mythological item of the difficulty of finding one has almost increased people's conversation about it. But when I got one, day one, I got very lucky. I just managed to walk into a GameStop and pick one up, just pure luck by chance. But the second I plugged in my PlayStation 5, it definitely felt like that next generation experience. But what I mean by that is this controller just being so incredibly advanced, and also the solid state. I am completely spoiled by zero load times. I love the fact that so many of these games are managing to build bigger worlds that are so instantaneously accessible. You know, I think it's one of those features that when you read it on a piece of paper, no load times, that doesn't seem like a big deal. But man, do I absolutely love it. As a guy who does like little tiny speed runs for funsies in my free time, it's nice that I can just instantly restart a run in Tony Hawk again and again and again. Or if I'm trying to fast travel around in Dark Souls or Demon Souls, it's cool that you can just do things so instantaneously. But the controller, this is where I feel like there has been a little bit of fun times and a little bit of gripes that exist with the PlayStation 5. Obviously, the biggest physical change from the PS4 to the PS5 has got to be the controller itself because of the haptic triggers and the new features they've built into it. Now, what they've done is, in case you have never held a PlayStation 5 controller, this is the God of War Special Edition one. When you're playing certain games, in fact, most stuff has the special extra functionalities put in, which can create this feeling of simulated tautness. If you're pulling Aloy's bow in Horizon Forbidden West, you can feel the tension of the string. Or if you're driving in Gran Turismo and you start to go off-road, you can sort of feel that weird change to texture. Now, I actually like the haptic triggers more than I thought I was going to. When I first heard about the feature, it didn't seem super groundbreaking or innovative, but it's kind of cool that when a gun jams, to feel the gun jam, or in Ragnarok when I pull my axe back, to feel that like feeling of your axe crashing into somebody. But this does bring me to one of my biggest gripes of the PS5 controller, which is that maybe it's just me, but the controller's battery life freaking sucks. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but I feel like I'm constantly putting it on the charger. I actually own 4 separate controllers now because I play a lot of co-op with my friends and my girlfriend and stuff. And, you know, it's kind of weird that I had to get one of those charging stations to be able to charge 2 controllers at once. And I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that when you're playing it, there's a big light on the front of the thing here. The PS4 controller also had a light, but this feels like the light inside the controller is brighter, so it saps the battery, and those haptic triggers do seem to drain it quite a bit. If I'm reviewing a game, typically for the first 4 or 5 hours, I'll keep on all the different cool functions, but after a bit, I'll deactivate the bells and whistles. I'll turn off vibration or put it at 1 out of 10. A lot of times I'll try and just deactivate the haptic stuff because honestly, it does turn a 20-hour battery life, what seems like a good, decent charge for the PS4 controller, whereas the PS5 controller feels like it goes for about 6.5 or 8 hours with all the fancy features upgraded. It's not the biggest detriment. It's just a tiny gripe that I feel like as a guy who games 40, 50 hours a week, I bump into that battery wall a lot. The biggest benefits to the PlayStation 5 though, and honestly the reason I just cannot stop playing it, is the freaking ton of exclusives. Sony has absolutely been hitting it out of the park. Even now, it just kind of blows my mind how much they managed to get out in just 2 short years. I actually found this interesting graph by my buddy Zubitech. You can see he's actually credited here at the bottom, and it's just staggering. So this is all first party and second party exclusives, meaning that these are games that exist that were either made by PlayStation Studios or by partners of PlayStation Studios. And you can see here Demon's Souls, Astro's Playroom, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I love, love, love. Going into the beginning of their first full year, we got complete masterpieces like Returnal, which still I'm playing because I love it so much. Games like Ratchet and Clank, which completely blew me away and really, really, really played upon that solid state that made it where they could fast travel and create different portals. I mean, these games, a lot of times, not just graphically, these are projects that felt like they could not run on a PlayStation 4. It felt like the next generation was beginning, and I still seriously just appreciate that so much. Even stuff like Kena or Death Stranding, which are cross-gen, Deathloop, that was obviously exclusive. A lot of these games very much blew me away. And then, of course, 2022, I still think, this is going to sound hyperbolic, this may be one of the best years that PlayStation has had in decades. And I'm dead serious about that. This is just so freaking top notch. Sifu, Uncharted Collection, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, freaking so much, Ghostwire Tokyo, Vampire the Masquerade, Salt and Sacrifice, which is like a 2D Dark Souls that I got a sent to code and loved it. Stray, I mean, Roller Drome, which I played so many hours of and I'm close to the platinum, God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Remake. Oh my gosh. I mean, seriously, I feel like you could just play just PlayStation 5 exclusives and never, ever, ever run out of stuff to enjoy. Like, you can still just straight up revel in everything that Sony is participating in. And this doesn't even discuss the fact that, of course, every third-party game is there. Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty, I'm still just so addicted to it. You can play it on PlayStation, and this controller is extremely good for it. I mean, it just blows my mind how much they managed to get the PlayStation 5 right. Sometimes it feels like these game companies get too egotistical, the way that the Xbox 360 sold like 100 million units or something absolutely insane, and so therefore Microsoft got overconfident and really, really, really botched the generation of the Xbox One. And I'm not even just bringing that up for the console wars, because let's face it, Sony has made a ton of mistakes going from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. So I was a little bit nervous because the PlayStation 4 did so well. The PlayStation 4 sold 114 million units. So in a way, I was a little bit nervous about the idea of beginning the PlayStation 5 and going, okay, how do you follow that up? And in a lot of ways, I mean this in the best style possible, the PlayStation 5, to me, feels like the PS4 too. It's more the games we love, it's sequels, it's reboots, it's remakes, it's new franchises, it's new ideas, it's big indie stuff that's completely blowing me away, but on a completely new device. And I love that about it. Now, that's not even just mentioning the fact that technologically, the PlayStation 5 is definitely a big leap up. Playing God of War Ragnarok on a big 4K TV, it is just shocking the amount of visual quality, texture depth, how freaking amazing the blacksness can look between different shades and stuff due to all the HDR. I mean, I still think the PlayStation 5 has some of the most photorealistic exclusives, and in a weird way, it kind of makes me excited for the Xbox Series X next year, because now Xbox and Microsoft are finally going to be releasing some games. I want to see how great Starfield can look. I want to see how great Redfall can look. I want to see like everybody really cranking out the full power of these next gen consoles. There is a little bit of rumors that we're going to be getting some sort of PlayStation 5 Slim, maybe here in the next 8 or 9 months, maybe some sort of PlayStation 5 Pro coming up in 2025. But as it currently stands, I think all the PlayStation 5 needs is more inventory. If the PS5 Slim makes it possible to sell these consoles faster, I guess I fully support it, because I just think that everybody should get a PS5. The other two tiny gripes I have about the PlayStation 5 as it currently exists is, one, we still don't have custom themes. I loved custom themes on the PlayStation 4. I own, I think, about 25 of them, and it was cool to be able to flip between like a Shenmue backdrop or a Final Fantasy VII live stream running animation. Like, I think the setup, this desktop view of the PlayStation 5 is fine. It's very accessible. I mean, it definitely works. I just wish that we still had some sort of custom themes or customization to make it so that as soon as you turn on your console, it looks like your console. I dug that. Now, the final gripe I have just comes down to PlayStation Plus Premium. This was something that was introduced this year, and to me, it had a lot of hype around it. The idea of getting a chance to play retro games directly on your PS4 or your PS5 was incredibly exciting, but the service has been a little bit of a wet fart. For the most part, it just seems like they sort of dropped it and forgot it. This is supposedly the highest tier of PlayStation Plus Online, and it's supposed to give you access to PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Portable games. But the problem is, the PS1 and the PS2 games basically stopped months ago. I have been subscribed to the service, and I've gotten, the best games on it are like Ape Escape and stuff like that, or the Patapon remasters. I seriously wish we were getting more retro games on this retro gaming service, but additionally, I still feel weird about the fact that there is no direct way to play PS3 games. All of them are streamed over the internet, and let's face it, this is just not technology that really exists in a good functional way yet. I mean, I'm saying this as a guy who has the fastest internet in the state of Texas, and I better not see any jokes about me living next to cowboys or whatever like that. But even with blisteringly fast freaking fiber internet, it still feels like games like freaking Resistance 3, which I absolutely love, or MotorStorm. These games do not look good, they do not play good, and it's bonkers because I feel like they could make a PlayStation 3 emulator. They could make a way to make these games run, since they've gotten PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games to run very fine, even if they have to be, cropped a little bit weird sometimes. I guess I'm just blown away that Sony is offering a service that's so clearly half-baked. But what do you guys think about the PlayStation 5 as it currently stands? I'm still playing mine literally every single day. I still think it's a console that I enjoy a lot, but, it definitely has room for improvement. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. This spotlight keeps wiggling, and I don't know why. Hopefully this doesn't mess with the editing. I have no idea what's going on. Is there an earthquake? Are earthquakes in Texas a thing? I have no idea. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.